Good morning. Today is Saturday the 14th. And we're going to start with a daily reflection on the New Testament. I think I said Old Testament yesterday too. Oh well. Then Herod slew all the children that were in Bethlehem and in all the coasts thereof from 2 years old and under. Matthew 2:16. New Testament scholars estimate that given the population of Bethlehem at the time, about 1,000, the slaughter of the innocent probably involved the death of about 20 male children. This senseless act, like the decree pronounced anciently by Pharaoh before the birth of Moses, dramatizes the paranoid and wicked frenzy that characterized the mind and heart of the ruler, ironically designated by history as Herod the Great. This heinous act is but another illustration of Satan's fruitless efforts to thwart the accomplishment of the purposes of God. The saints of the Most High move forward despite such opposition, trusting the prophetic promise that no weapon that is formed against thee shall prosper. Okay, so today is Luke chapter 2, verses 27 through 52. So we're finishing Luke chapter 2, and in these verses, Joseph and Mary take Jesus to the temple, to Jerusalem. It's according to the law. Luke says that several times. According to the law, when the law is fulfilled, taking the child to the temple. Two people meet them. An old man named Simeon, who was promised that he should not die until he saw the Lord's Christ. And then Anna, a prophetess who had been widowed 84 years, who didn't have any children of her own. She worships in the temple night and day. And these are the people who get to see Christ, to testify of him being the Messiah. And and then they take him to Nazareth. They raise him there, and every year they make a pilgrimage to Jerusalem. And when he's 12 years old, they're on their way back. And after a day's journey, they realize he's not with the company. They search for him for 3 days, find him in the temple. And this is where he says, how is it that ye sought me? Wist ye not that I must be about my Father's business? And they understood him not, but Mary kept these sayings in his heart. And then it says, and Jesus increased in wisdom and stature and in favor with God and man. Now, in the Halverson podcast, he talks about, repeatedly, he's like, do you see here that they say that Joseph isn't his father? It's because he's not his father. And when Mary says, your father and I searched for you, and it's like, whoa, woman, Joseph is not my father. I'm about my father's work. The way that Halverson talked about it, it kind of... Okay, could you stop that, honey? Please don't break it. It was very... I don't know. For some reason, it just got under my skin. He wants to very much point out the fact that Joseph is just a stepdad. He is not Jesus's father. And, yes, I know this. I know that God is Jesus's father. I know that Joseph is not his biologically. But there is this sense where it's like, yeah, but this is the man who's taking care of him. And in this life, not that it's easier, but it's respectful to Joseph to talk about him in that paternal way. Even though, yes, the facts state this, and we don't want to confuse those two, saying that Joseph is his father or anything like that. But it kind of, the way that Halverson talked about it, it kind of got under my skin because it seemed disrespectful. Like Joseph can just be pushed aside or something. I don't know. But I can just imagine Mary and Joseph being like, "You're 12 years old, kid. Like, I know you're the son of God, but you can't just stay alone in Jerusalem. You can't just stay behind and not tell us where you are. You can't just do that." Even though, like, you know that nothing would happen to him, but it's just this adolescent attitude of, not saying that Christ had it, not saying he did, this adolescent attitude of, "You're not my father, you can't tell me what to do." That's how it came across in the Halverson podcast, and I think that's why it like angered me so much. But I think Christ also understood that too, because it says, "And he went down with them and came to Nazareth and was subject unto them." He wants to start his ministry, and they're the caregivers, the protectors, the stewards over him until he is ready for his ministry. God gave them him to raise, to teach, and all these things. And when you realize he's lost, you're like, I lost the Son of God. I'm going to be in so much trouble, But, he wants to start, but he also realizes that he needs to be subject to them until he comes of age, which that scripture really helped soften the load. Anyways, Elder Holland has something to say about this. He says, "I believe it is most significant and very instructive that the first recorded words attributed to the Son of God in his mortality are, 'Wist ye not that I must be about my Father's business?' That question surely must speak volumes about who he is, what lies ahead of him, and the ultimate measurement of his mission. And it just as surely must speak something of us who have been invited to be about the same business." That's kind of really all that stuck out to me here. Okay. Let's see. It talks about the prophetess Anna, but I don't really want to dive into that. Talks about the feast they go to. Okay. "Wist ye not that I must be about my Father's business" could have been translated, "Did you not know that I must be doing the things of my Father?" In the Joseph Smith translation, Jesus answers, "Why is it that ye sought me? Knew ye not that I must be about my Father's business?" Let us not say that there was unkind rebuke or unfilial reproof in the answer to this most dutiful of sons to his mother. His reply was to Mary a reminder of what she seems to have forgotten for the moment, the facts in the matter of her son's paternity. She had used the words, "thy father and I," and her son's response had brought anew to her mind the truth that Joseph was not the boy's father. She appears to have been astonished that one so young should so thoroughly understand his position with respect to herself. He had made plain to her the inadvertent inaccuracy of her words. His father had not been seeking him, for he was not even at that moment in his father's house. Particularly engaged in his father's business, the very work to which his father had appointed him. And then it talks about the last verse. This one short verse covers approximately 18 years of the most important life that has ever been lived or will ever be lived on this earth. Yet in those few words, Luke informs the world that Jesus developed in all the important aspects of life. and Jesus increased in wisdom, in intellectually, and stature physically, and in favor with God spiritually, and man socially, which we all know about. All right, that's all I have for this chapter, or these verses. Tomorrow, today's Saturday, tomorrow we do Learn of Me chapter 8. I fixed it, I sent it out to the people who had requested it, and I will now speak the right chapters that we were doing. We will do Learn of Me chapter 8 tomorrow, and I'll leave you now with a prayer from a diary of prayer. This one is Jacobite Liturgy of Saint Dionysius. O God the Father, fount of Godhead, good beyond all that is good, fair beyond all that is fair, in whom is calmness, peace, and concord, do thou make up the dissensions which divide thy people, and bring up back into the unity of love, which may bear some likeness to thy sublime nature. Grant this, O Father, through thine only begotten Son, that all we who have been redeemed by the ministry of his incarnation may remain united in the fellowship of perpetual peace. I don't know why it's so impossible for me to read today or speak, but anyways. All right, so that was Luke chapter 2, verses 27 through 52, and we do Learn of Me chapter 8 tomorrow. We'll see you then. Bye.